A few weeks ago, actress Justine Bateman was on the Today Show talking about aging gracefully. She's 57. She talked about the pressure on women to hold on to their youthful appearance. One of the worst things we can do, and in many cases have already done, impacts our skin's health and appearance, and that is sun exposure. We talked to our Kathy Sabin about her skin cancer diagnosis. There are over 5 million cases of skin cancer diagnosed in the United States each year. Skin cancer is America's most common cancer. Fortunately, skin cancer, also one of the most preventable cancers. Your skin can be damaged in as little as 5 minutes in the sun. Researchers have found UV exposure during the first 18 years of your life was the most critical for cancer-causing skin damage and skin aging, which is really disappointing for many of us.
Well, we're going to talk about skin now.
Because we've done that.
Well, Dr. Torunn Sivesind joins us now. She's a physician with UCHealth dermatology. And I think a lot of people talk about skin as damage already done, you know, things that we did when we were 12 and 15 and 20, and now as we get older we look back and you can't really undo much. So what happens to our skin as we age?
So I think there are a couple important points that you touched on there, and I like to think about skin as sort of being analogous to the way you would treat fine art, in that, you know, you have art restoration and you have art preservation. If you think about architecture or painting, so certainly, as you said, some of the damage that's already been done, you know, we're looking more at trying to prevent future damage rather than undoing, but there are some things that can be done. I think for most people, the main thing that we can do, as you said, is go for sun protection. Naturally, aging is something that happens just because of genes and individual exposures and environment, and there's not a whole lot you can do about that. The fine lines, the sagging skin, dry skin, some age spots, those things are all natural, but we can prevent further damage by really trying to avoid the sun using SPF. I would say sun is the main thing that we can focus on, and then certainly environmental pollution, our diet, other lifestyle choices play a big role.
Well, when you bring that up, I mean, there is no doubt. I mean, sometimes I get up in the morning and I don't recognize myself. I'm like, where did my youth go? It's sad. It's very sad, Tom. Anyway, but I look at like my grandmother who did not go in the sun and just to her last days had the most beautiful skin, but then we have Colorado where it's super dry, and like, how can I make up? I can't really make up for what I did, can I?
Right. I think, you know, it's never too early or too late to take care of your skin. I would think about it just as any other organ in the body, where you think about heart health, and certainly even if you've damaged organs in the past, say you're a smoker and you stop smoking, that still benefits you. It doesn't necessarily undo all the damage that you've done.
So water too, like when you talk about exercise and diet, and
hydrating, moisturizers, things with hyaluronic acid will help plump the skin and keep the water in your skin.
What has that
really
in it?
I've heard so much about hyaluronic acid lately.
Well,
where do you find that?
You find it everywhere these days, I think.
In drinks?
So, in terms of diet, you want to focus on water. In terms of topical products, things that say that they're hydrating tend to have hyaluronic acid, whereas moisturizers don't necessarily. However, both of those are beneficial in terms of helping keep that.
Does it matter if you buy
dry.
like drugstore brand versus the uber expensive? Because
honestly,
I tend to look at that to see if it's on the bottle.
Right. And I think that's the primary thing. There are a lot of great over-the-counter brands that you can buy that are inexpensive. You don't necessarily have to spend an arm and a leg to get good skin products.
Cosmetics, a great way for people to get motivated to take care of their skin. But how close or how far apart do cosmetic desires and health needs, like the difference, you know, talk about having age spots versus skin cancer, are they close to one another? Are they the same thing in some ways?
You know, in some ways they are the same thing, in that sun damage can initially cause age spots that then turn into skin cancers later. The kind of liver spots or sunspots that we think of, those are usually harmless, but you know, they have the same source, and sometimes the signs that we see on our skin that we associate with aging are early markers for later skin cancers.
Pretty important.
I know. It's never too late. That's what I'm going to stick with. Never too late. I'm going to try. I mean, I think most of us have tried to keep our face out of the sun for a long time in recent years, because you see it and it's pretty obvious what's going on. So tell our kids too.
Well, Dr. Torunn Sivesind, we appreciate you visiting with us. Thanks for giving us and our viewers a little bit of some tips on taking better care of their skin, or at least understanding it a little better as well.
Thanks so much for having me. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.